Incredible rescue. Discover how 5 brave hearts saved a giraffe from a hidden anaconda attack. The small town of Fairview, Ohio, was buzzing with excitement. The annual county fair was just around the corner, and everyone was eager to see their beloved giraffe, Bella, who had become the unofficial star of their festivities. Kids painted her portrait, mothers baked her likeness into cakes, and fathers jogged in the park just to get a glimpse of her long neck and gentle eyes. But behind this cheerful facade, Bella's safety was in jeopardy. Amidst all the joy were Jake, Emma, Raj, Selena, and Marco. 5 friends bound by childhood memories and dreams, all resonating with the spirit of the American dream. Jake helped his family run a struggling diner, pouring coffee for customers while worrying about the bills piling up. Emma's parents, proud retired veterans, shared tales of old missions, longing for a sense of purpose. Raj worked tirelessly with his family on their modest farm, fearing the day they might lose their land. Selena, trying to keep the family shop afloat, sought respect from customers and the community alike. And Marco, the mechanic, was determined to prove his worth amidst whispers of inadequacy. One summer day, while they visited Bella, a sudden commotion shattered their idyllic moment. The sanctuary staff, panicked and frantic, spoke in hushed tones. A hidden threat, a massive anaconda, had been uncovered. As fear gripped the friends, they felt a rush of adrenaline course through their veins. "We can't let anything happen to her," Raj shouted, his voice breaking. "This is our chance to do something incredible," Selena echoed, determination lighting up her brown eyes. Each friend shared their own worries, subtly intertwining their personal struggles with the urgency of saving Bella. Jake's heart raced. "If we don't act fast, the fair won't be the same without her. We won't be the same," he muttered. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The friends pooled their ideas, their hearts pounding as they crafted a plan to confront the sanctuary management. They realized Bella's plight mirrored their own issues, the neglect and disparities that made their town feel fractured. Emma wiped a tear as she recalled how so much care had gone into Bella's care, yet so little had been done for the community itself. As they gathered allies, they felt a spark of unity that hadn't existed before. But doubt loomed. Who would listen to them? Just as hope began to seep into their hearts, terrifying whispers emerged from the townsfolk. Mixed sentiments brewed as they became aware of rumors swirling about the sanctuary's supposed incompetence. Would their voices be silenced amongst the clamor of class differences? Just when they thought their efforts might falter, an ultimatum was laid before them. Without immediate action, Bella would be relocated, casting their hearts into chaos. What did it mean to fight for something so precious while wrestling their personal demons? The clock was ticking, and their friendship hung by a thread. Could they rise above their struggles to save Bella and in doing so, perhaps salvage their own dreams? A sense of urgency filled the air as they stood before the sanctuary, the fate of their beloved giraffe entwined with their own futures, igniting hope amid an impending storm. Time seemed to slow down as Jake, Emma, Raj, Selena, and Marco stood in front of the sanctuary, hearts racing in unison. They shared worried glances, each grappling with the weight of the decision looming before them. Could they truly challenge the status quo and save Bella? Emma took a deep breath. "We need to rally the town. Let us host a meeting. If we can get everyone to understand the stakes, maybe we can turn this around." Her voice was steady, but a hint of fear lingered behind her determination. "Yes. Let us bring everyone together. They all love Bella," Raj added, hope beginning to flicker anew. But as they talked, doubts gnawed at their minds. Would it even work? The whispers of discontent among the townspeople echoed ominously. There were those who felt Bella was just a giraffe, not worth the fuss, an insignificant asset to the sanctuary's management. Selena, ever the realist, spoke up. "What if people don't care? What if we put ourselves out there and they just turn their backs? Marco, leaning against a tree, said softly, we owe it to Bella and to ourselves to try. His voice was laced with urgency. If we do nothing, we might regret it forever. The friends decided to meet that evening. They gathered at Jake's family's diner, an unassuming haven filled with the scent of fried food and the warm glow of the setting sun filtering through the windows. They brainstormed possible ideas, crafting emotional appeals, and discussing how to engage the townsfolk in Bella's rescue mission. Each idea morphed into a pivotal piece of their vision, as they poured their hearts out over coffee and burgers. They quickly arranged posters, filled with images of Bella's graceful neck stretching towards the sky. Please help save Bella, one voice can make a difference. The bold letters declared. Nervous laughter broke out as they remembered the cake and paintings made in Bella's image. At least she has some artistry behind her fans, Marco joked, trying to ease the tension. But the laughter dimmed, replaced with a somber weight as reality hit.as night blanketed Fairview. They stood outside the diner looking out at the twinkling lights of the town. The fair was only days away. What if no one shows up? Emma whispered, her voice thick with concern. We make them show up, Jake said, his voice firm. We're stronger together. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through, rustling the leaves of the nearby trees. It was a chilly reminder that time was slipping away. They wanted to save Bella, yet in this very moment, they understood that they were hoping to save themselves too. Each one held a piece of the puzzle, their fears and aspirations intertwined with Bella's fate. The next day, the 5 friends gathered again, ready to take to the streets and share their message. But as they walked past the sanctuary, they noticed a dark figure lurking at the edge of the tree line. It was a familiar face, Larry, the sanctuary director, but he didn't look like himself. His eyes burned with purpose as he flicked a glance towards their posters. What is he doing here? Raj asked, eyeing Larry suspiciously. They stayed hidden, pressed against the fence, curiously watching the man as he paced nervously. Something was definitely off. Little did they know, that moment would propel them into unexpected alliances and disturb their very path. Would the truth of the sanctuary's operations shift everything they thought they knew? Steeling themselves, the friends decided it was time to confront Larry, unaware that what lay ahead could change their mission and their lives forever. With hearts pounding, the friends exchanged uncertain glances. They stood concealed behind the rough wood of the sanctuary fence, straining to hear Larry's murmurings. Is he talking to someone? Emma whispered, squinting into the budding darkness. The worry in her voice mirrored the anxiety swelling in their chests. They hesitated for a moment before Raj nudged them onward, urging a confrontation. Come on, we can't wait. We have to know what he's up to, he insisted, determination flickering in his eyes. They crept closer, making sure to remain out of sight. As they approached the edge of the dimly lit sanctuary, they could hear Larry's voice rise slightly, laced with agitation. You're risking everything, you know that, right? The words hung ominously in the air, like an unspeakable secret waiting to be uncovered. What's he talking about? Marco murmured, trying to focus on Larry's form, now illuminated by a nearby spotlight. It was then they saw the second figure emerge from the shadows. Jenna, the sanctuary's veterinarian. Jenna had always been a gentle presence, her kindness towards animals legendary, yet now her expression was tinged with worry. The sight of her made Jake's heart ache. This isn't just about Bella's future. There are other risks involved, she said firmly, folding her arms defensively. Suddenly, Larry's voice rose in frustration. You know I'm trying to protect the sanctuary. But you have to listen, the town is interfering. If they find out Raj couldn't help himself. We can't just wait here, he said, stepping out of their hiding place, adrenaline pumping through him. The others followed his lead, hearts racing as they approached the 2 adults. Larry. Raj's voice cut through the tension like a knife. What's going on here? Why are you so worried about what the town thinks? Larry turned, his brow furrowed, surprise flashing across his face before it faded into anger. You kids shouldn't be here. This is none of your business. but the group wouldn't back down. Marco stepped up, deciding to play the confident card. It is our business. We're trying to save Bella, remember? What do you know that you're not telling us? Jenna looked between him and Larry, her expression conflicted. There's more to Bella than you think. The fun's Larry interrupted, his voice sharp. This conversation is over. You kids need to leave. We're doing what's best for the sanctuary, and you're in over your heads. Frustration bubbled inside Emma. Best for the sanctuary? What if what you're doing puts Bella in danger? Her eyes were fierce, pleading with them to see the truth. A tense silence fell. Larry seemed to waver slightly, his heart visibly breaking. For a moment, they all held their breath, waiting for him to crack. Finally, with a deep breath, Jenna spoke softly but firmly. There is some truth to what the kids are saying. We've had to face some issues. Bella's life might not be as secure as we thought. What do you mean by issues? Jake pressed, desperate for answers. Before she could respond, a low rumble echoed from within the sanctuary. The ground shook slightly beneath their feet, sending a chill up their spines. The shadows around them shifted, and they instinctively drew closer. Not now, Larry muttered, shooting a panicked look at Jenna. What's happening? Emma exclaimed, pulling at Raj's sleeve. Move back. Everyone, get away from the fence. Larry shouted, now with genuine fear in his voice. As they backed away, Jenna's eyes widened. There's something, we need to find Bella. They all turned and ran, fear fueled by the urgency of the moment. Were they too late? Their friendship and Bella's fate were now tangled in a web of danger, and as they raced toward the sanctuary, the unsettling question loomed just above them: what were they about to discover? The pounding of their hearts echoed in Jake's ears as they darted across the uneven ground, each lurching step pushing the fear further down their throats. The shadows of the sanctuary loomed behind them, a darkened fortress of secrets, as they strained to hear any movement beyond the trembling trees. Larry was right, something was wrong. Where do you think Bella is? Raj shouted, desperation igniting his voice. The questions pulled tighter in their minds, each one pushing them onward. They were not just running for Bella, they were running for the sanctuary's future, for the lives of every animal sheltered within its walls. Jenna led the way, her strides quick and purposeful, her gaze fixed ahead. If we don't find her before the storm hits, she could end up trapped. She called back, urgency threading through her words. Emma felt a knot in her stomach as the wind picked up, swirling around them with unsettling intensity. What's going to happen in the storm? She yelled, hoping for reassurance that wouldn't come. Bella needs to be found and secured. She's not safe, Jenna began, but the rest of her sentence was lost in a low, rumbling growl that echoed through the sanctuary grounds. They skidded to a halt, breathless, faces turned towards the source of the sound. A shadow shifted just inside the barn, a massive figure looming concealed behind the dim light. Suddenly, the barn door creaked open with a high-pitched squeal, and there she was, Bella. But the moment joy rose within them, it was followed by panic. Bella was trapped against the far wall, her wide eyes showing fear that mirrored their own. They could see it slithering along, sinuous shape, dark and glistening, inching closer to the frightened giraffe. No. No. This can't be happening. Raj gasped, grabbing onto Marco's arm as they all stood frozen, horror washing over them. It was an anaconda, its scales shimmering like wet grass, poised to strike. Jenna. Marco urged, desperately searching her face for a plan. The vet's eyes flashed with determination. We have to distract it. Otherwise, we'll lose her. Distract it? How? Emma shrieked, the panic rising in her chest. Find something, anything. Jenna shouted. Make noise. It won't be able to resist. Without thinking, Jake turned, bolting towards a pile of old tools scattered near a vehicle. He picked up a rusted metal bucket, hoping it would make enough noise to draw the snake's attention. With a firm grip, he swung it over his head, bringing it crashing down against the floor. The loud clang echoed through the air, and for a moment, the snake paused, its tongue flicking in the air, sensing a new target. Now! Jenna shouted, and they all charged forward, using their voices as weapons. Hey! Over here! Raj screamed as he hurled a rock at the snake, the small stone clattering against its scales. The anaconda turned, drawn in by the ruckus, allowing Bella a moment to gather herself. The friends seized the opportunity to sprint towards her, hearts in overdrive. But the moment of distraction was fleeting. The snake started to move again, faster than they anticipated. Jenna, get Bella! Marco urged, his voice breaking as they grasped the urgency of their mission. But as Jenna reached out, something shifted around them. The ground began to rumble even more violently. Panic clouded their senses again. What is happening? Emma screamed, but before anyone could answer, the ground split slightly open, and a desperate thrust of fear shot through their chests. Out of the corner of his eye, Jake noticed movement further in the shadows, a silhouette standing tall amidst the chaos. Who or what was that? Was this another potential threat, or perhaps a savior? With adrenaline coursing through him, Jake took a deep breath, the weight of friendship surrounding him. We have to find Bella and face whatever comes next together. As darkness swirled and chaos threatened to swallow them, the urgency to protect Bella clung tightly to their hearts, no longer just about saving the giraffe, but for their friendship's survival and the unexpected mystery that awaited them. What lay hidden in the shadows beyond the storm? The tremors beneath their feet intensified, a violent reminder of the world crashing around them. The silhouette Jake had glimpsed vanished almost as quickly as it appeared, swallowed by the shadows. All that remained was the anxious presence of the anaconda and the vulnerable figure of Bella, still cowering against the barn wall. Focus on Bella! Jenna shouted again, snapping Jake back to the immediate task. He felt the surge of urgency build within him, pushing back against the fear threatening to paralyze them. With a shared glance, Raj and Marco bolted forward, their legs pumping as they urged Jenna on. Come on, Bella! Marco implored, waving his arms. We're here to help. There was sincerity and warmth in his voice, a direct appeal to the frightened giraffe, but the anaconda, now fully alerted, made its intentions clear. With a sudden lurch, it darted toward the group, the glistening scales flashing in the dim light like a villainous monster coming for them. Jake's heart raced. Time was running out. Grab anything! He yelled, thrashing through the scattered tools, and found an old, rusted shovel. It felt heavy in his hands, but like the bucket, it could serve as a distraction. I'll draw its attention, you two get Bella. The urgency in his voice ignited something in the others. They didn't have time to second guess, they sprang into action. Raj snatched up a nearby bundle of tarps, flinging them into the air to create a flurry of chaos intended for the snake. Hey! Come on! Jenna waved her arms towards the anaconda, timing her voice with a sudden rattle of metal from Jake's shovel. Look over here. The creature hesitated, its attention split. That brief moment was enough. Jenna charged toward Bella, running with the kind of fierce determination that only came when lives were on the line. She reached out, coaxing the giraffe with soft, calming words. You're safe now. Come on, sweetheart. But Bella, despite her towering stature, remained trapped by fear. She shifted slightly but didn't move to Jenna's outstretched hands. Please, Bella! Emma shouted, her eyes wide and pleading. The anaconda, sensing the confusion, lunged. Raj let out a shout and hurled the tarps at the snake. It wrapped around the bright colors, momentarily distracted. In that heartbeat, Jenna reached Bella. She pressed her palm against the giraffe's side, pouring every ounce of comfort and reassurance into that touch. The moment was electric. Bella reacted instinctively, stepping forward as Jenna held her ground. Just as the snake broke free from the tarps, Bella hesitated no longer and stepped towards Jenna, her long neck bending down, seeking connection. Wait, keep pushing! Marco shouted. Together, they formed a solid barrier, guiding Bella out of the barn, inch by inch. Just then, thunder cracked above them, the storm brewing like an angry beast. Lightning flickered through the sky, lighting up the scene in pulses. Now! Move! Jake yelled, thrusting the shovel at the anaconda, who recoiled momentarily. Let us go. With a mighty heave, they supported Bella as she stepped out from the barn. Every heartbeat echoed through the group as they stumbled backward into the storm, Bella following closely, her long legs moving with newfound confidence. But then, with a roar of thunder that seemed to shake the very earth, the ground beneath them cracked wider, sending shockwaves through the sanctuary, as the anaconda readied itself for one last thrust. Behind you! Emma screamed, panic transforming her voice into a desperate plea. What could they do when disaster struck beneath their feet, and their friendship hung in the balance? As fear and determination battled within them, Jake glanced back at their foe just in time to feel the weight of Bella leaning against him, her presence both a comfort and a catalyst. They were running out of time, and every moment counted. Would they navigate this chaos together, or would darkness tear them apart? The thunder crashed again, a violent reminder that nature was unleashing its fury. The ground split further, chunks of earth giving way under Jake's feet. His heart raced as he felt Bella's warmth against him, a soft comfort that grounded him in the chaos. Move! Jenna urged, her voice piercing through the din of rain and wind. They couldn't hesitate now. Every second mattered. The danger was palpable, curling around them like the snake they were trying to outsmart. Jake hoisted the shovel, swinging it wildly to keep the anaconda at bay. The creature hissed, its beady eyes fixated on him with a predatory glare. It twisted towards the crack of darkness, the light from the storm revealing its length and muscles rippling. For now, they had it distracted. With every ounce of determination, Marco and Raj continued to lead Bella away from the barn, her legs shaky yet instinctively following their guidance. The group inched forward, navigating over fallen branches and scattered debris. Raindrops lashed at their faces, but they fought through the wall of water, adrenaline surging through their veins. Bella! You need to trust us. Marco called back, his voice strained yet soothing. Believe in us. Bella was getting more comfortable, gently nudging against Jake, grounding herself against the fear swirling around them. Just keep moving. Jenna urged again, not letting the fear bubble into her heart. They were so close, yet the anaconda growled in defiance, recoiling and lunging unpredictably. Each time it made a move, Jake felt his stomach tighten, the fight-or-flight instinct staging a rebellion against reason. Suddenly, the ground shook harder. A loud crack filled the air. Raj stumbled, catching his balance just in time. Go! Go! He yelled as he reached back for Jenna's arm, pulling her forward. In that moment, Jake saw the worry in their eyes, a fear so deep it felt suffocating. Could they really protect Bella? Could they keep themselves safe? The storm outside raged, but there was a different kind of tempest inside each of them, a mixture of fear, hope, and a fierce need to survive. With one last terrifying hiss, the anaconda lunged again, its massive body coiling and striking with a force that made Jake's skin crawl. It was a desperate attempt to reclaim control. Jake threw the shovel again, only this time it was a shot in the dark, a desperate ploy to give his friends precious seconds. The throw landed, distracting the snake further. It turned its attention toward the shining metal, letting out a roar that echoed through the storm. Hurry! He shouted, as Jenna tightened her grip on Bella's neck, guiding her in the right direction, sparking a moment of fierce connection between them. Bella moved faster, that final push igniting something inside her. She took a few long strides, and in that instant, Jake felt a rush of overwhelming emotion. They were fighting together, heart and spirit. Almost there. Marco shouted, hope painting his voice. They approached the tree line, a small sanctuary from the chaos behind them, just as the anaconda caught the shovel in its grip, throwing it aside in frustration. But they couldn't stop now. They needed to reach safety, and fast. Even as they neared the trees, thunder crashed overhead, blending into the roar of panic that threatened to consume them. As they escaped the open area, Jake turned back for just a moment. He could see the anaconda finally breaking free from the scrap. It was focused, relentless. With its eyes fixed on them, it was more menacing than ever. Run! He hollered, his voice full of urgency, not daring to look behind again. Would they make it to the safety of the trees? What would happen if they didn't? The storm was fiercer now, but the fire in their hearts burned even brighter. The bond they shared was fuel enough to face any darkness, and just as they raced into the wooded cover, a loud crash of a limb echoed. Something else was out there. What had they just awakened? Branches whipped around them as they burst into the trees, the cool air a sharp contrast to the chaos outside. Jake could hear his heartbeat in his ears, a steady drum that drowned out the storm and the predator they had escaped. Bella pressed against his leg, trembling but alive, her spirit igniting hope in him. "Keep moving," Jenna insisted as they pushed deeper into the woods. The rain had slowed to a steady drizzle, but the fear didn't let up. The grounded earth felt familiar, though, it was a reminder of safety, of home. But just ahead, darkness loomed. The shadows twisted, and the faint shimmer of eyes glinted like molten steel. Jake's stomach dropped. What now? Is there anything else out here? Raj panted, scanning the area. I don't think we're alone. Focus on Bella, Marco replied, breathing hard. We can't let her get spooked. He stepped protectively in front of the young giraffe, using his body as a shield, as if to say, "Don't worry, you're safe." Jenna squinted into the hazy darkness. What did we just hear? The tension was palpable, even the forest seemed to stand still, holding its breath. We have to keep moving. Whatever it is, it can't be worse than that snake, Jake said, feigning bravado. Together they pushed forward, navigating roots and slick moss, not knowing what lay ahead. Bella felt the undercurrent of anxiety flowing through the group. She tracked the shifting sounds around them, her ears flicking back and forth. She was much more than an innocent creature caught in this storm, she was their beacon of hope. In her big, gentle eyes, Jake could see trust mingling with uncertainty. She needed them, but they needed her just as much. Thunder rumbled again, though it felt different now, it echoed with purpose. Then, without warning, a low growl vibrated through the air. It sent chills down Jake's spine. What was that? Jenna whispered, eyes wide and frantic. Whatever it is, it's not friendly, Marco said, barely keeping his fear suppressed. Before anyone could react, a massive figure shifted into view, just beyond the tree line, its muscular structure silhouetted against the dim light. Jake's heart plummeted. Not another snake, but something bigger, a bear. Back! Everyone back! Jake shouted, gripping Bella's halter tighter. They were wedged between the bear and an unconscious escape route. The bear emerged, its breath visible in the cold air, growling a warning that rumbled deep within its chest. A predator too, but of a different kind. In this moment, Jake felt a fierce instinct surge up within him, protectiveness for Bella mingling with fear for the lives now hanging in the balance. Bella! Jenna screamed, lunging forward. The giraffe began to panic, instinctively moving towards the bear, drawn by something Jake couldn't fathom. He felt a spark of bravery ignite, fueling him to stand firm despite the terror clawing at him. He doesn't want you. He wants me, Jake shouted, stepping in front of Bella. Their world had turned upside down, and yet, he wouldn't let it shatter. He had to find a way through this. The bear's eyes met his, and in that heated moment, time seemed to freeze. Would it strike? Would they escape? As the growl erupted, a sudden realization hit Jake like a bolt of lightning. Was Bella really leading them into danger, or was she guiding them toward the unimaginable path of survival? What could possibly be waiting for us back there? Jake wondered, heart racing even more as the stakes grew higher. The tension in the clearing thickened, curling around them like the mist rising from the damp ground. Jake's heart thudded in his chest, matching the bear's growl, yet deep within him, a strange calm settled. He stood between Bella and the unknown, holding his ground. He felt the weight of his friends behind him, uncertainty mixing with trust. The bear stepped closer, its massive form towering above them. Each pawfall sent vibrations through the earth, each growl fueled by instinct. Jenna held her breath, fear etched in her face as she tightened her grip on Raj's arm. Marco, however, began to circle slowly, trying to divert the bear's attention. Jake. Jenna hissed, her eyes darting between the bear and Bella, who was now shivering, her long neck crouched low. We can't stay here. But Jake, he could see something in the bear's stare. There was no hunger, no aggression like they had faced before. It was a warning. His heart began to race again, but not from fear, rather, a strategy was forming in his mind. Maybe Bella can help, Jake realized, a flash of hope igniting. What if she can calm him? She's not a threat. It felt crazy, yet the thought anchored him. Bella, it's okay, he whispered, his voice steady. Just, trust me. Slowly, he stepped back and lowered his body to Bella's eye level, coaxing her with gentle words. The bear paused, its growl diminishing. Jenna's fear transformed into confusion, and Marco halted his movements, hoping Jake knew what he was doing. They held their breaths, watching. Please, stay calm, Jake murmured, resting a hand against Bella's long neck. She responded to his touch. Her breathing slowed, and the trembling eased. Let him see you. Bella lifted her head slightly, her soft brown eyes wide and curious. She took a tentative step forward, inching closer to the bear, all while Jake stayed close at her side. Don't you dare run. Marco urged, ready to intervene if necessary. We don't need any more panic. The bear's stance shifted, its growls softer now, a deep rumble of confusion and curiosity. Bella stopped, her posture alert yet unthreatening, her long lashes blinking slowly against the bear's intensity. Just then, another sound broke the tension, a rustle in the leaves behind the bear. The creature's attention shifted, and Jake instinctively stepped in front of Bella. The bear's focus turned back to them, nostrils flaring as it scanned the surrounding darkness. Jake, what if it's not just the bear? Jenna whispered, glancing around nervously. What if something else is coming? Jake's heart raced again, not just from the suggestion but from a gut feeling that crept into his mind. The growls had been louder than the rustling. He felt the weight of necessity pressing down on him. They had to understand what they were up against. Everyone, back into the trees. He shouted. If it senses something else, we need the cover. Bella, follow me. He turned on his heel, motioning for them to retreat. The bear hesitated but didn't he follow, still watching them intently. He grasped Bella's halter tighter, heart pounding with urgency. As they stumbled deeper into the underbrush, Jake felt the forest closing in around them, branches snagging at their clothes and skin. But somewhere in that despair, there was determination. They could not just run, they needed to face whatever was stalking them. But as they turned a sharp corner, a blur dashed past, another animal darted into view, spurring an unexpected moment of clarity in Jake's panic. What was that? He gasped, barely able to process it. Silence fell heavy, and uncertainty clawed at his throat as he turned. Was it danger or deliverance? The pulse of the forest quickened, and in that heartbeat, he started to realize that the bear might just have been the least of their worries. Jake's pulse raced, a wild drum in his chest as he crouched in the underbrush, the thick leaves rustling around him. Nearby, he could hear his friends whispering frantically. The blur he had seen had vanished into the shadows, leaving behind an echo of uncertainty that hung in the air like a heavy mist. What was that thing? Marco's voice, usually steady, trembled with fear. I don't know, Jake replied, straining to listen, the adrenaline surging through his veins. But we can't just stay here. He risked a glance over his shoulder, toward the clearing where the bear had stood. It seemed incredibly far now, swallowed by the darkened woods. He couldn't see it, nor could he hear its growl anymore, but the unease was still palpable. Jenna nudged Jake, her eyes wide. There's something wrong. We should just run. No, Jake shook his head, his instincts kicking in. I think we need to figure out what we're dealing with before we make a mistake. As if in response to his thoughts, a low rustling resumed, louder this time, closer. They pressed together, hearts pounding as the sound drew near. Stay behind me, Jake commanded, steeling himself. Bella shifted uncomfortably beside him, sensing the tension in her human-esque body. He could feel her breath, warm against his skin, steadiness amid chaos. Stay calm, Bella. Are you sure we should wait? Raj whispered, his voice barely above a trembling breath. Yes. We need to be ready for whatever's coming, Jake insisted. He wanted to reassure them, to say that everything would be okay. But deep down, he sensed they had crossed into a territory where old rules didn't apply anymore. Suddenly, the underbrush erupted with movement, twigs snapped, leaves crackled, and then out of the shadows an enormous anaconda slithered into the dim light. Its body glistened like liquid emeralds, each scale catching the scarce light as it glided over the ground, undulating with deadly grace. Oh my God, Jenna gasped, stepping back. We need to help. Marco fired back, clenching his fists, brimming with urgency. It's going after something. Jake's breath hitched. He recognized the pattern, the way the snake moved, the precise focus in its eyes, probably targeting something nearby. A sudden realization crashed over him. Is it looking for Bella? No. Jenna shouted in horror. We can't let it get to her. Bella. Jake called, moving forward instinctively as the anaconda hesitated, drawn to the noise their panic created. He couldn't just stand by. If the serpent wanted Bella, he wasn't about to let that happen. He extended a hand, an invitation for Bella to step back. We have to protect her. Listen to me, girl. As he stood there, the world slowed. Jake felt the pulse of the forest beneath his feet, sensed every animal within miles holding its breath. The snake's tongue flickered in and out, tasting the air, as if deciding its next move. It was a game of odds now, but Jake refused to back down. He could not lose Bella. Get ready! He yelled, rallying his friends. If it gets close, we need to create a distraction. Why did it have to come to this? Panic intermingled with fierce determination. They couldn't just let the snake take what mattered most. They had to act. But how? Then, with a sudden surge, the anaconda lunged, its eyes fixated on Bella. Now! Jake shouted. As his friends readied themselves, Jake thought of how much they had already faced together. This would require more courage than ever before. Could they save Bella from the jaws of danger, or would this be their last stand against nature's unforgiving voice? The air crackled with tension, thick enough to cut. The battle for survival loomed on the edge of the clearing, and its answer was still shrouded in uncertainty. The storm raged on, whipping rain against them like angry fists as Jake and his friends embraced the tense atmosphere thick with dread. As the anaconda lunged, time seemed to stretch. This wasn't just a fight for Bella's life, it was about everything they held dear, even their own futures. Now! Create a distraction! Jake yelled, his heart pounding against his ribcage. Without thinking, he grabbed a nearby log and hurled it towards the snake. The heavy thud echoed in the chaos, startling the serpent mid-strike. It turned, momentarily confused, its dark eyes flicking between Jake and the crumbling log. Over here! Marco screamed, waving his arms wildly, his voice rooted in determination. Raj quickly followed suit, combining his strength with an improvised display of frenetic energy. They shouted, clapped, and stomped, creating a ruckus designed to draw the snake away from Bella. Jenna, in a moment of recklessness, moved toward Bella, whispering encouragement. You can do this. Just keep walking toward me. You're safe. Bella, with hesitation, took a timid step forward, trusting Jenna's soothing tone. The anaconda writhed in confusion, torn between prey and pursuers. Just as it pivoted towards Jenna, its focus faltered. Jake took that as his moment. This is our shot. He shouted, rallying his friends. Get Bella safe. With their hearts racing, they nudged Bella, urging her toward Jenna, each step taken with urgency. Sweat dripped down their brows as they edged backwards, walking a fine line between salvation and destruction. Then, just as they reached the edge of the clearing, a sudden growl shattered the air. An unexpected presence prowled from the shadows. Panic surged through their veins as they turned. It was the bear. Not again! Emma cried, eyes wide as the fur-covered giant approached. But something incredible happened. Bella, caught between fear and instinct, turned instinctively towards the bear. To everyone's shock, she stood tall, grounding herself amid the chaos. "Jake, what is she doing?" Raj murmured, frozen in awe. "Maybe she's showing she's not afraid?" Jenna conjectured. The towering bear paused, taken aback by Bella's deliberate stance. The tension hung in the air, thick as fog, but Jake felt an electric pulse of anticipation. If Bella could connect with this wild creature, perhaps they weren't doomed, perhaps they were in the presence of unexpected allies. The anaconda, still coiling and tracking Bella's every move, returned its focus just in time. The bear unleashed a low growl, serving as a warning. "Get back!" Jake shouted. For a moment, the forest held its breath. Then, in an instinctive act of unity, Bella reared up and let out a resounding call, a trumpeting tone that rippled across the clearing. The sound seemed to spark a wild energy, resonating deep within the bear and disrupting the anaconda's resolve. In that instant, the bear charged towards the anaconda. With a powerful swipe, it struck, sending the serpent into a hurried retreat, its sleek form disappearing into the underbrush. They watched, hearts racing, as the bear stood tall between Bella and the remnants of danger, a primal guardian. Did we just win?" Marco whispered, incredulous. "We did," Raj exclaimed, tears of relief pooling in his eyes. With the danger temporarily subdued, Jake embraced Bella tightly, the warmth of her body grounding him. "You did it, Bella. You saved us." Each friend exchanged looks of awe, a profound understanding passing between them. They were no longer just 5 kids trying to save a giraffe, they had become defenders, fighting not just for Bella's life, but for each other's as well. The storm subsided just enough for a sliver of sunlight to break through the clouds, casting a golden hue over the trees. As they stepped cautiously out of the trees, the sanctuary staff emerged, bewildered but alive with the energy of survival. Larry, still shaken, approached them slowly. You saved her. All of you." For the first time, respect shone in his eyes. "Yes. And we need to talk about how we can ensure Bella and the sanctuary's survival," Emma declared, letting her voice ring with conviction that seemed to merge with the awakening sun. The friends drew together, forming a united front, while also offering their hands to those in the sanctuary. As Bella nuzzled against them, each heart swelled with hope, the bond forged through fear transforming into unbreakable love. They had fought through the shadows together, learned the strength of unity, and changed the trajectory of their lives in one extraordinary, heart-pounding moment. They turned towards Fairview, the fair festivities in mere days, ready to embrace their community, unwavering in the brimming positivity they now held. Together, they would lead the charge to raise awareness for Bella, to champion her cause and fight for the sanctuary's better future. Together, they had not only saved a giraffe, but also found a purpose, a bond that would carry them through future storms, a friendship that thrived on every challenge faced. And for the first time, each one felt proud of who they were, proud of what they could accomplish together. Now, the fair would go on. But more importantly, a community would come together, all thanks to the bravery of 5 hearts, eager to share their story with the world. This is the moment. You need to subscribe now. Leave a like now to fuel this algorithm and let everyone see this transformation. Comment below with your reactions to this battlefield of emotions, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring story. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support matters now more than ever.